All right, so you guys know I was looking at the millers, and this is the 141 that hooks up to 110. But you do have to switch the polarity if you want to go air gas or flux core by switching the cable leads. This one was coming at about 850 bucks. Manual setting for speed, manual setting for how much voltage is going through it, but you can hook air gas up to it. So that was a little bit on the pricier side for something that you can get. And I was also looking at this Millermatic 211, the same one my dad has. You can plug into 220 or 110. Again, you have to change the polarity if you want to go flux core or air gas. And there's a little adapter that it comes with. This one was coming in right around 1,250, 1,300 bucks plus tax. Tax is a lot, but it does have some auto features. You can set the gauge automatically to whatever wire you're running, plus voltage and thickness based on the metal that you're trying to do. It's a MIG welder that does aluminum, steel, and like I said, it's overall, it's really nice. My dad has it. It's just a little bit out of my price range. I don't really need Pro Series cost welders. I'm not a professional welder. So I started looking at the Lincolns, and I was like, okay, the benefits between Lincoln and Miller is that you can get some parts for them should they break down outside of the warranty period, and it's relatively inexpensive to fix it. So I went back to Harbor Freight just to revisit some of the welders because I have had such good luck with my flux core welder from Harbor Freight, which cost me 100 bucks. And I was like, they gotta have something here that's gotta be a little bit better than what it is that I'm already running. So let me take a closer look and see what they got. So I saw the welding carts. They were looking pretty nice. If you wanted something to set your welder on, this was a huge parking lot sale that they had going on. This Vulcan one where you can hook your tanks up, have a nice little work surface too. That was nice. Started looking at the Vulcan welders because someone recommended the Vulcan welders. A little bit better on pricing, definitely better than some of the ones that we saw from the welding supply store as well as Home Depot, but you can't get a Miller anywhere else except for a welding store. And if you want a Lincoln, you pretty much got to go to Home Depot. And I was like, okay, now we're starting to get up there in price, and now I'm getting pretty close to Lincoln and Miller prices. I don't know if I'm really ready to do that. If I'm going to do that, I might as well go Miller or Lincoln. But I was trying to, do my research. You guys said that speed plus polarity plus whether you're running gas plus a lot of things would make or break you as far as a good weld is concerned. I was talking about penetration and how I was having a lack of penetration out of the flux core welder. And so I was really looking for something that's a little bit better quality that would provide a better weld. Then I saw these titaniums. These titaniums came in at a much more reasonable price. And they offered a lot of the similar features that Hobart offered, that Lincoln offered. Not quite Miller status, I wouldn't say, but they did offer the gas. They did have the, you can reverse the polarity a lot easier on this device than you can a Miller or a Lincoln. And like I said, a much, much better price. And I don't know anything about Hobart. I know that Jay Young swears by Hobart. I don't know anything about them either. So I was looking at these and I was like, man, this might be worth taking a little closer look at. So that being said, let's take a closer look and see which one I got. Alright, so we got our MIG setting here that we can turn up that's digitally displayed. I'm going to try to run it at 5 and about 5 wire speed after playing with it. I'm not sure what this 2T, 4T is. I like to go on and off with my trigger, so I'm guessing that 2T is probably where I want to be. And if I was holding it down a lot or consistently, maybe 4T. I just don't know, I'm still new. I'm a hobbyist, like I said, at best. But at any rate, here we go. Here's some settings. Here's the trouble chart. We're checking it out. We're not going to be penetrating anything too thick. It says it can run for about 6 to 7.5 minutes for duty cycle. There's the wile spool going through this aluminum deal, and then out into the hose. I'm on flux core right now, 30,000s flux core. So my ground clamp comes up and goes into the positive. The actual wire spool or welding rod portion of it plugs in up here, followed by another little cable that plugs into here. And then the main cable that comes out of here for wire feed is going to go around over here to the negative. And it's pretty simplistic, you know. It's got a deal here where if you were to unplug this, it's got a knob. You line it up and you spin it on. Same with the other one. This only fits one way. It's a 5-prong deal. Let's see. What else can I tell you? Here's the vents. Loving this green so far. Backside. So you're going to want to make sure you have it set for 120 if you're doing flux core. They also got the 240 as well as the on-off switch to turn the welder on or off. I selected off. The fan cools everything down and then it turns itself off. And of course, when you're ready to weld, you turn it on, give it a few seconds to get booted up, and it's good to go. All right, guys, so I'm back here on the side of the house. Got my little welding station set up, but I want to talk a little bit about how I came to the decision that I did with picking up the MiG 170. So if you guys been following me for the last week or so, you would have seen that we went to Home Depot. We did get a chance to go into Harbor Freight. We went into Tractor Supply. We went into Vagabond Welding. We looked at some Millers, some Lincolns, some Hobart. We looked at all the welders that they had to offer over at Harbor Freight. And really, my decision came down to, do I want to spend professional money for a professional series welder that I'm only going to use once in a blue moon for hobbyist-like projects? Or do I want to spend just a little bit more money to get a little bit more money to get a little bit better weld? And that's kind of what it came down to. So you guys know that I've had this Chicago 90 amp flux core for over 4 years, but I've been using that style of welder for about 9 years now. It's what I started off with. The only welding class I ever took was back in high school, and that's been over 20 years ago. So for the longest time, I just thought that I was a crappy welder, and I didn't do it often enough to make it halfway decent looking weld. But I was able to make it hold up for what it's worth. Well, I decided to step it up just to see how much more difference there actually is between the 90 amp flux core and the titanium MiG 170. Another reason why I didn't want to spend buku dollars on a professional series welder is because I think that you can get a lot of the same exact features out of the titanium than you can a Miller and Lincoln. Well, let me talk about that for a second. So I was talking with my dad, and he told me, hey, you know, son, it's going to be a little bit difficult for you to get replacement components when it comes to those cheaper welders. So I did my due diligence. I started asking questions of the Harbor Freight employees. They gave me a 1-800 number that I'll put down in the description that you can actually call, and if you're out of warranty, you can get replacement components for the titanium as well as the Vulcan. Now, they didn't know if they had any kind of replacement components as far as the Chicago Electric, but a beauty behind the Harbor Freight warranty is that before your warranty is getting ready to expire, you can go back and you can renew that warranty for another 2 years or 1 year or however long you want to extend your warranty for. So I thought that was a great option. You know, you go in every couple years, you pay them $50 or whatever, and you got a new warranty. And I think that's great. So that really helped aid me in my decision for going with the titanium over, say, something like a Miller. With the Miller, I don't know what their warranty is like, but I can tell you this much: if something broke on it, it's pretty much up to me to find the replacement component. I highly doubt that I could take it back to the welding supply store and say I need a new one. With Home Depot, it's hit and miss. You know, you can talk to them, you can call the corporate office and maybe see what they can do for you on that. And they do offer warranties too, but how long that warranty or how well that warranty is, I'm not too entirely sure. Now, I did pick up a warranty with my Milwaukee chop saw, and I picked that warranty up for 2 years at $25, and I thought that was a pretty dang good deal. And again, I can do the same exact thing with them. I can go in and I can pay for a new warranty when I get close to that. Or if it breaks down in that time frame, I can simply go into the Home Depot and change it out for a new one. All right, enough of my jibba jabba. Let's get this thing fired up. Let's put some steel on this thing, and let's start doing some welding and see how well the welds come out. Alright, so I thought before I started welding with the new welder, I would show you guys a weld that I did with the 90 amp flux core. You can see, not the most prettiest thing in the entire world, but it worked. And when I'm talking about penetration, like when you go to clean something up, and again, I'm not sure how well this is going to show it, but you'll see like this little hairline crack in the metal. And this is just flush with the surface where only some of the weld actually penetrated in deep enough for it to hold it together. Maybe I went too much on the grinding. But it's the same situation over here. A little portion of that corner, not completely sealed. And then again over here, which you might be able to see this one a little bit better. Again, not completely sealed. So I don't know if I'm grinding it down too much or it's just not penetrating very well. But here at the top, you'll see that it seemed to penetrate really well. And there is no hairline crack, and that's also with the 90 amp flux core. So it's real hit and miss. I'm going to turn the voltage down to 4. I think we're running a little hot. And man, that's a pretty weld already. Far less spackle. Way better. Way better. Now, this is 1/16 square tubing, I believe. Yeah, 1/16 square tubing. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Alright, so not too incredibly bad whatsoever. These welds came out nice and crispy. I had good penetration, I felt. There was a couple of times on this side that I kind of got blinded by the sun, so maybe my settings were a little bit off too, so it kind of spackled a little bit. But overall, still a pretty decent looking weld. Alright, now this weld is on 1/4" steel. And you can see that came out just beautiful, beautiful. Now I've got my speeds at 5 for wire, about 4.5 for the MIG, and then 5 on whatever that is. I'm not really sure. Maybe my welder guys out there can tell me. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and weld the other end of this support piece, and then I'm going to run one more in between. So yeah, guys, overall, I am very impressed. I am very impressed with this little welder. And I even got a smoking deal on it because the employees at Harbor Freight are freaking awesome. I ended up picking this hot rod up during the huge parking lot sale this weekend for 450 bucks. Pretty bitchin', dude, pretty bitchin'. So I would say money well spent. And if I consider the amount that I paid for this versus what I've paid for that, and that getting me pretty much all my money back out of, you know, doing, like I said, exhaust work, this kind of stuff, race car stuff, I've made my money back with that. This one, I just kind of wanted to step it up a little bit, get some better welds, so that way I can get a little bit more artsy craftsy and whatnot, which is why I decided to try to make myself a little table. Looking at my little table, yeah, so far so good. I gotta see how much it's gonna cost for a flat plate of steel to go across. But as far as this welder and how it welded, look, it welds 1/16th of an inch real well. It does really well on the 1/4" stuff. It says it can go up to 3/8. I don't have any any real immediate need to go 3/8 welding, but it's nice to know that it can do that. And yeah, overall I'm pretty happy. I think I need to work on my squaring though. Not sure what happened over there. I measured the tube evenly for both sides, and all this is the same length and everything. For whatever reason though, that back leg looks like it's sticking out a heck of a lot farther than it really should be, but it's whatever. It's a desert table, man. This thing can be planted in the ground and collect as much rust and whatever. It's just meant for me to come over and bang on things every once in a while, or, you know, have an area to clamp onto with the welder to weld something on top. So that's pretty cool. That's what my whole goal was behind this table. So I'm getting there. Hopefully it won't take me 8 months to get to the next step, but you know, no rush. No rush in it at all for me. I'm just having fun, and man, I'm just killer excited about this welder, guys. I really am. Well, that'll pretty much wrap it up for this video, guys. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. Share if you want to share. My total thoughts on this overall review: this welder kicks ass. 2 thumbs up. I'm gonna say Harbor Freight for the win, or in this case titanium for the win. So real happy with my purchase. Thanks everybody. We'll see you next time. Deuces.